Hello, this is Prophet Flakes again, coming at you again. Um, this time I'm gonna be talking about prayer, the importance of prayer. Well, I name it the power of prayer. Some people call it the power of prayer. I call it the importance of prayer. So I will be talking about the prayer, importance of prayer. It's also powerful too. The prayer is powerful too. It's important and it's powerful. It helps you to live longer. It helps you to live longer, and it helps you to. It's a sort of form for you to have to speak to the Father. It's sort of something that Jesus, God, He gave us this. That God, He gave us power of prayer to speak to Him, and also it's a weapon to defend us from the enemy. Also, so I'm going to read this passage. It's on Mark 11, verse 24. It says, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." Okay, what does that mean? I'm going to break it down for you. Like this has five things, okay? Five things. Like here's what five, or you can say six. It has five. Okay, seven things then. And the number one thing is some prayers He won't answer. That's the number one thing that He won't answer. That prayer, number one thing is the prayer He won't answer is lofty prayers. Let me tell you what lofty prayers is. Lofty prayers is prayers that when you hear pagans, they always be saying that even though they heard of God, but they heard of God, but they don't exactly know God. They just they just hear a prayer when they were little, like uh, uh um that prayer when they go into bed, they pray. That prayer, it's called I lay myself down to sleep. I pray my soul, my the Lord to keep and stuff. Those kind of prayers, God does not God does not answer those prayers. God does not know those prayers. He said, "Do not pray those kind of prayers." And when you ask Him something, ask Him about yourself. Don't be selfish too. And also, when you're praying, that's not exactly asking something, but when you praying like pray the Lord my soul to keep, that it's not good for a Christian to do that, because there's a devil. And number one, it talks about some prayers He don't answer. That's one of the powerful prayer. Is like say if you committed a sin, the sin that He hate most of all is slander, and then after that, then you suffering and stuff, and then you say tell God, you come home and you tell God, you pray to God, why am I suffering? Why am I suffering like this? And you know what is suffering. That prayer is obvious, and you know why it's suffering. The more you do that sin, the more it makes you more and more. It makes you go down. It makes you go down till it destroys you. That's the pray. That's the kind of prayer you don't pray. That's the kind of that's the kind of thing that you don't do. That's the kind of prayer that He doesn't listen. He doesn't answer to, because He knows that you know it. He knows that you know that kind of prayer. And if you go out and like if you do something something wrong, and he knows that you're doing something wrong, and you know that you're doing something wrong, and then you come home and pray God, God is not going to listen to you, and he's not going to listen to the prayer that you praying. And any prayer that you pray him, he's not going to answer either. He's not going to answer it, because that's is like you turning your back on God and on that prayer. And on number two, so on number two, it talks about talk to God like you're talking to your parents. Number two, talk to God like you're talking to your parents. Because prayer, like I said already, prayer is a very powerful thing. Talk to your father that's in heaven. Just like you're talking to your mother and father here on earth. Talk to him like that. Tell him what you want, your wants and needs. Tell him your problems. Tell him how you want him, how your wants and needs. Like if you can't be healed, something like that, you just tell him that. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to talk to him. Some people say, "Oh, I'm afraid to talk to him." Don't be afraid to talk to God. He's not a monster. He's not gonna eat you. He's gonna. In fact, God is love. He loves you. He loves you. He loves when you prosper. So talk to him. Answer it. So talk to him. And when you talk to him, and when you want your answers prayer, you gotta walk right with him. You cannot be in two things at once, because in Romans 6 verse 28 it says that you cannot live double lives. You cannot live for him, and then after that you're doing something else, living for the devil. You cannot do that. That's another thing that he won't answer your prayer. And plus, when you talk to him, he doesn't hear you. Your prayer is going to be like weak. It's like it can't. It's like it's going to be like it can't get into heaven, because it's too weak, because you're doing bad stuff. You sinning. And God, he says that when you need to stop sinning, because God is a great God, and he doesn't like when you're doing that sinning. When you're walking with him, he will listen to you. And whatever you ask him, he will give it to you. But if you talk to him, if you ask him to do something for you, but when he tells you to do something for him, and you don't do it, he's not gonna give you it. That's what the Bible is telling you right here. It's telling you that like you shall receive. You shall receive it if you ask for it. But you gotta walk in a right path with God. You gotta be in a fellowship with God, and plus you gotta listen to all God's commandments and do what He tells you to do, and then He'll answer it. And as for number 3, here it talks about like if you're sick, ask for healing. If you're sick, ask for healness. Ask God for healness. Don't depend on men and stuff. Don't depend on medicine. Yes, the medicine is good for you to take. Yes, the medicine is good for you to take. Yes, you have to check with your doctor. Yes, but still the main doctor is God. He's your main doctor. He can help you. He can help you. He can heal anything and anywhere, anything you have. He can heal it. Anything that's chronic, God can heal it. But you gotta walk with Him. But you gotta also, when you ask Him the sick, you gotta find out. Also, sometimes you gotta find out what is making you sick. Just like when you eat food. When you eat a food, let me give you an example. Like when you're eating some food, and then when you eat it, and then after that it gets you sick. And when you keep eating it again, it gets you sicker and sicker. So you find the source. of that food that's making you sick. It's the same like this. When you getting sick, you find a source that's making you sicker and sicker, and then you leave it. Yes, God is healing you, but sometimes it's probably you probably are pushing God away from healing you. Sometimes you're doing that, and that's not what you got. Sometimes it can be a friend that you have that is not in God, that is keeping you away from God, and that can cause you to not be healed properly. And sometimes it can be uh, sometimes it can be like some stuff that you do that is not good, that's making you sick, still making you sick, that is making you sick, and you gotta let it go in order for God to come inside you, to clean you, and to heal you properly. And also number 4, it talk about when you pray, the power of prayer is like you also when you pray, you also you have to ask for guidance. You always when you pray, you always ask for guidance. You always ask God for guidance. That's the things that you need is guidance from God. In order for the earthly stuff, you ask God for guidance. You ask him what you want me. You ask God what you need me to do. What you and when you're about to do it, ask God for guidance to do that. You cannot do it without guidance, without God's guidance. And it also talks about stress too. And it talks about strength too. You also have to ask God for strength too. By strength, I mean like by strengthening your faith too. By let me give you an example, like pastoring a church. God knows that it's not easy to be a pastor sometimes. It's not easy sometimes to lead a flock because they do disrespect you. Some, when God don't call them, they just leave it. They can't do nothing. They can't deal with it, and then they leave it. Man, I know that. But when God calls you to do that, you ask God to give you strength to become a pastor, to pastoring. So when somebody tells you something, so you can ignore it, so you can turn your back and leave, so you don't turn around and start getting mad and stuff and getting sick. And also it talks about protection too. Let me tell you about protection. Like number 6, it talks about pagans, and number 5, it talks about protection. Let me tell you about those two things. Those two things. Pagans, that's the ones I'm talking about. Like, God doesn't respect them. God doesn't answer their questions answer their prayers because they don't. Like when they pray, they be like, they say that they know God, they know Him, they know God, but they don't know God for real. They don't know God. You cannot be like right there on your knees and praying lofty prayers, saying God. When you hear some like the prayer I just early said it, like pray my God, pray my soul to pray God my soul to keep. You don't pray that. You pray for your for problems, for your problems. You pray for God could get rid of it. You ask God to get rid of it. You pray God for depression that the devil is throwing at you. The arrow of depression, the arrow of stress that you ask God to shield you, to protect you from that. He protect you by protecting you to shield you from the arrows of the devil. That's the power of prayer right there. When pagans these days, they don't have they like it's like for them is there's no God and there's no devil. They just go on their bed and they go to sleep. Like there's no God and no devil. Like devil's always there while they're going to sleep. See, the devil, he doesn't bother them because he already knows that where he's gonna get them. He doesn't bother them because they are pagans and plus they're like they're lost souls. They don't know God. So he bothers us. As Christians, he bothers us. As Christians that know God, know actually follows God, have a fellowship with God. Though he we are the ones that he bothers. And also lazy Christians, he also bothers lazy Christians too. The devil, he see lazy Christians there. Well, scratch that. But he doesn't bother lazy Christians because lazy Christians are just like they're no different than pagans. Lazy Christians, they just go to sleep too. They just go to sleep without praying or nothing because and then they don't have no problem because because the devil already know that they're already the devils. They're already for the devil already. They are not for God. It's those the one that it's those who is with God, who is following God, who's a fellowship with God. Those are the people that the devil is trying persecuting. Those are the people that the devil is trying to kill. But the power of prayer says that he can't do that. The power of prayer, when we when we ask God for protection to protect us against the devil, God, he's gonna put his armor on us. He's gonna give us he's gonna give us a shield to protect ourselves from the arrows from the devil and the bullets from the devil. So the devil don't hurt us. So the devil can't kill us, can't hurt us. He can't kill us or hurt us or nothing. And there is many people like they when they go to sleep in the morning they don't wake up no more because they just go to sleep and then they don't pray. They just go to sleep and then after that they don't get up. They don't wake up. They die in their sleep because they lack of praying. They are called lazy Christians and also they're called how you say carnal Christians. And to finish with the power of prayer, that the power of prayer is like you ask God for protection, and God, he's a God of war. You ever heard of God of war? He is the God of war. He defends you from the devil. When you pray to him and you pray to God and you tell God that to protect you from the devil, he is the one that protects you from the devil. He doesn't let the devil mess with you. I mean, yes, the devil will how you say torment you or something like that. But the devil, he can't kill you because you have the armor of God. Once you call upon God, God will bring down his angels, or he can come down himself and defend you from that devil that's trying to kill you. That's the power of prayer right there. And also the other thing that God doesn't answer in your prayer, I hear so many people, they be asking God for to get married so much. God, marry me. God, give me a wife. Give me a wife. Give me a wife. Yes, God will give you a wife. He'll answer you one time. He will answer you. But you gotta be, and after that, but you gotta be patient. You gotta be patient for that woman. God will give you her. Don't be praying. Keep saying, God, give me a wife, give me a wife, give me a wife. No, don't say that. No, don't say that too many times. You say that one time, and after that, don't say that so many times. Say, instead of saying that a lot so many times, just say, tell God that to make you a good husband, prepare you for her. Ask him to prepare you for her. Comment and subscribe and like.